Hi, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, one and all. Shabbat Shalom, Rachel.
Shabbat Shalom.
What's it doing in Chicago?
We had our first little snow, a little light dusting. Now there's a lot of ice. I was outside this morning with Mika painting on the ice, which is fun.
I never knew you could do that.
Yeah, with like liquid watercolor, you just do drops and then you can paint and it's like pretty and cool. So we've been having fun with ice. It's
Well,
not
excellent.
so cold yet. Yeah.
I was never taught how to do that in Southern California.
Yeah, it's a necessary skill here.
I believe it. Well, so I guess our Shabbat Shalom is broader than just the Southeast Valley of Phoenix. It extends to everyone who's watching Chicago and beyond. Thanks for being with us. I hope you are in a comfortable and safe place. I hope you have candles at the ready so that you can light with us. And as Rachel leads us into Shabbat, I want to encourage you to sit back and relax, to plant your feet firmly on the floor, to breathe deeply, to relish this moment, to feel it, every sensation that surrounds you, and if you wish, to sing along.
Shabbat Shalom, 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 Shir HaMalot B'shuv Adonai and Shivat Zion Haynu Kecholim Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world on this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Let's join together and light candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And now a song for Shabbat.
Mizmor shir le'yom haShabbat, tov le'odod la'Adonai, ulezamer le'shimcha elyon, ulezamer le'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir le'yom haShabbat, tov le'odod la'Adonai, ulezamer le'shimcha elyon, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר הסתכה, אמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. We'll continue with Chatzi Kadisha, page 144. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי נכון וביום נכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב לימרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולם מעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה, ויאמרו Amen. We'll get ready now for Baruch Hu. You can straighten yourself up or find a place to stand. When I do this song with my grade school, this prayer with my grade school kids, I always say, put yourself in a prayerful space, physically, emotionally, however you can get there. Get in a prayerful space together. Lai, 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai yai lai yai lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, Yai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai.
If you are standing, please be seated. As the clear blue sky of afternoon deepens, the stone of Jerusalem turns pink, catching the sun's longest rays. The city seems to blush as it settles into the quiet of evening. Stone releases its heat. And in the old city, Ottoman gates usher in the evening shade. Like gentle lovers, gray shadows lay the cloak of night over Roman columns, as they have each evening for 2,000 years. The sun's very last ray catches the tip of the golden dome, which reflects it into the town. A burst of day, then night. When evening falls in Jerusalem, we come to understand the words, Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla. Creating day and night, rolling light from before darkness and darkness from before light, causing day to pass and bringing on the night. Day inches imperceptibly into night, blurring differences, and only God can distinguish one from the other. Baruch Hata Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Golel or mipnei choshech. Oops, golel or mipnei choshech. Borei yom v'layla, v'choshech mipnei or.
That piece was composed by Rabbi Noam Katz. And this poem, this poetic interpretation of Ahavat Olam, was written by Adam Soul. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch Ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And now it's time for the Shema. in which we allow our bodies to connect heaven and earth, whether standing or seated, to lift ourselves up and open ourselves up to the flow of energy and the divine oneness that is the cosmos.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
If you are standing, please be seated, and we'll continue together with Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וכשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And now, Michamocha, followed by Hashkivenu and Vishamru.
Michamocha va'elim Adonai מי כמוך נהדר בקודש מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות
Rachel froze on my screen, so I'm going to keep going.
Am I back?
You're back. And now Hashkivenu. We'll give it a try.
We'll give it a try. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Leshalom Ve'amidenu Shomreinu Lechayim Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
It's time for the Amidah, traditionally said standing. It has become our practice. There's some white noise coming from your computer, Rachel. I don't know if there's a way to fix that. There we go. So we will rise if that's comfortable for us to do. Rachel will bring us in and we'll give ourselves 10 full lungfuls of air. If you would like more time, whether to pray Matbe'at Tfilah or if your prayers are more expansive, please feel free to pause the recording and join us back in as we conclude with Oseh Shalom. Let's begin the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yai la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la, yai la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Amen.
Amen. I don't know if you could hear what I was hearing during the silent prayer, but just outside the sanctuary, the children of Yad B'Yad are playing. And I don't know what could be a lovelier sound during a silent prayer than children at play rather. Let me share with you the names of our community members who need our healing prayers today. They are Daniel Barish, Dave Beeson, Antoinetta Caputo, Sandra Chin, Jorge Contreras, Kenny Dobin, Mark Eggleton, Autumn Everett, David Foreman, Michael Glass, Emily Harris, Deborah Havens, Carl Herman, Mark Heitzman, Nancy Levy, Francine Locks, Nancy Marks, Brittany Maxwell, Jerry Mavernack, Audra Morgan, Juan Quintero, Sue Rubin, Marion Shack, the Sharma family, Jane Sinkin, and Beverly Worthing. Who else? Who else do you know who's hurting this week when there is so very much hurt in the world?
Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yishavera Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Amen. Pharaoh dreams and Joseph sees what's coming. There will be famine in the land. 7 years hence, the season of plenty will dry up, and the land will cease to produce. Unless the government intervenes, the people will starve. Our nation, the United States of America, and our state of Arizona have long been places of plenty. We have fed ourselves and the world. But today, right now, people are hungry in numbers we haven't seen for decades. The lines at food banks are long and growing. The eviction moratorium has helped many, although certainly not all, and it's set to expire on December 31st, the middle of winter. And what about the landlords and building owners who aren't receiving rent? While many of us are secure in our finances and comfortable in our homes despite the pandemic, many are not. They are stretching pennies that have already been stretched. They are skipping meals, turning off the heat, sleeping fitfully, fearful of being turned out, worried about their own health and the health of their loved ones. Work has dried up for many, including some low-wage immigrants who have now no money to send home to families in the global South who depend on it. The Washington Post's headline yesterday was 8 million people have fallen into poverty since the summer. But of course, we know they didn't fall. They were allowed to fall by a system and a government that failed to protect them on the most fundamental level. And they were pushed into poverty by massive companies who used the pandemic to promote their bottom line at the expense of their employees. Our country's crisis is not only medical. It is a social crisis too. It is a human crisis, invisible to many of us. The situation is worst here in Arizona, in the Navajo and Hopi nations. I'm quoting here. The Navajo Nation and Hopi Reservation are extreme food deserts with only 14 grocery stores on the two reservations to serve some 180,000 people who live in a territory larger than West Virginia or larger than the combined area of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. Imagine how far some people need to drive to get groceries. What happens when the shelves are bare? 1/3 don't have running water, and another third doesn't have electricity. The pandemic's toll is worse there than elsewhere in the United States. According to CNN, since the pandemic began until November 22nd, the Navajo Nation has had 15,039 cases out of its total population of 173,667 from the 2010 census, which means this hard-hit population has over 8,659 cases per 100,000 people. The Navajo Nation has had the highest infection rate in the United States. In that same article, Pinon High School principal Timothy Nelson says he has not seen any evidence of government aid in Pinon or the towns around it to help fight the pandemic. Perhaps Pharaoh would have shown stronger leadership than ours. In the Navajo Nation, nearly 40% of people live below the poverty line, according to numbers from the 2010 census. That's more than double the US poverty rate. At Nelson's school, again, according to CNN, over 98% of its students are eligible for the free or reduced lunch program, compared to the state average of 55%. Might I add, the deplorable state average of 55%. And this is our state, people. Thanks to generous donations, I have contributed to the Navajo and Hopi families' COVID-19 relief fund on GoFundMe on behalf of Temple Emmanuel. The fund is tribal members who distribute care packages of food, water, PPE, health supplies, cleaning supplies, and other essential items like toiletries to those who need them. They are at risk of running out of supplies and stopping. Can you imagine? Desperation, starvation, illness here in our own state. I invite you, I urge you, I beg you to join me and contribute. There's more that we can do. Speak with your tax preparer about Arizona's tax credit for charitable donations. While I don't support the system overall, since it exists, I believe in using it. You can donate quite a bit of money, either individually or as a couple, to a wide range of nonprofit and other organizations supporting education, foster care, anti-poverty, veterans, and more. I usually wait until I file. Then my accountant reminds me of the avenues and amounts, and I cut a series of checks. This year, when it's cold outside and the need is acute, I'll be making those donations before year end. The money comes back to me in my refund. It is, frankly, the least I can do. Please join me. Right now, our elected officials at the national, state, and municipal levels are establishing policy about unemployment, eviction moratoria, loans to business, payroll protection. Call them and let them know what your values are. A few weeks from now, we'll read another story set in Egypt under a pharaoh who knew not Joseph. The plagues will come not only to Pharaoh, who made the hateful decree, but also to all Egyptians, whether rich or poor. That's because those Egyptians benefited from the system that oppressed others, and they did nothing to stop it. Here we are, in the midst of a plague. We get to decide which side we're on, the side of the comfortable or the side of the starving. It is, in fact, as simple and as painful as that. Shabbat Shalom. And now we recite Kaddish Yatom. This community mourns the recent passing of Irving Wohl, Sandra Prebill, Marion Hopkins, Edith Seidman, Betty Traum, Elizabeth Korchnoi, and Leslie Shahar. And this week we observe the yortzeit of Seymour Ackerman, Robert Berman, Muriel Bedegole, Nicola Caputo, Bernard Charney, Peter Copeland, Charla Ray Dane, Morris Dermer, Doris Eichner, Ruth Feinstein, Anne Frank, Morris Gluck, Milo Graubard, Harry Hefter, James Haywood, Elizabeth Horn, Lillian Ivaner, Bessie Calden, Pearl Levine, Sarah Lieberman, Clara Medvin, Beatrice Moskowitz, Arvin Neeson, Dawn Paley, Miriam Rubin, Jane Seligman, Norton Taylor, Aaron Trustman, and Melvin Weiner. Who else is in your heart tonight? Let's join together in offering our mourner's prayer. Please rise as is your custom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba. Be'alma divra cherutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv. Ve'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mivorach le'olam ulmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar yitchumam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar, v'yitalei, v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha. They are blessings to us. Please be seated as we conclude our song, Adonai oz le'amo yitain. God will give strength to God's people.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom, v'shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you, everyone, for sharing this service with us. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.